Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So let's dig back in to where we left off yesterday. And we got into the fact that the older son was telling the father, I've done this, I have served you, I've never disobeyed your commands. And points out that the father has never done anything in return to him or for him. And, the father's not angry. He doesn't lambaste him for who do you think you are? I'm your father, you're my son. But the father has come out to plead with the son to go in. And in verse 31, this is the heart of the father. So we're in Luke 15, verse 31. And the father said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. All that is mine is yours. And if you'll remember, so let's go back just a few verses to verse 12. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the part of the property that falls to me. And he divided the estate between them. And of course, in verse 13, and not many days after that, the younger son gathered up all that he had and journeyed into a distant country. And from there he wasted his fortune on reckless and loose from restraint living. So the father had divided the estate between the two sons. So the younger son wanted his, so the father divided it and gave it to him. And the older son, doesn't make mention in here, but if there were two sons and the estate was divided between the two and the younger son took his, then that means everything that remained belonged to the older son by inheritance. It was his portion. And I think that is something, a part of the story. A couple of years ago, I wrote part of a women's Bible study, and I dug into this part of inheritance, and which we talked about last week. Just as a refresher, what is inheritance or heritage? It's property that descends to an heir, something that's transmitted or acquired from a predecessor. And so we know that you inherit something, it's passed. And look at this. When both the younger son and truly the older son, though he didn't realize it, the younger son definitely received his inheritance while the father was still alive. So you don't have to wait until death to be able to enjoy that inheritance. For us who are in Christ Jesus, it was his death, the death of Jesus, that enables us to receive from the Father, to receive our inheritance package. And so this portion that the older son is fussing about, really fighting about, just really ugly about, the father says, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. Which makes sense because your brother's already taken his. So this older son, who has kept himself in a lesser than position, or in a position of not using to his advantage part of his inheritance, did not realize, did not understand, did not comprehend that his younger brother had taken his portion. Two sons, that meant everything that was left was his. It was his portion. So we read in verse 28 that the older son was angry because of what was happening, and the father was making merry. But really, what should he have been angry at? The fact that he had lived however long with his inheritance at his hands and he hadn't used it, didn't realize it. We're going to pick up here again tomorrow and dig a little bit deeper. I will see you then. Bye, y'all.